WTUG HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa. A Town Square Media Station. You can forget about it. Touchdown, Alabama. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we played the summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to recruit you, and I running back coach didn't take the pass. biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin Houston Show fan page. You can find it on Martin Houston Live on Facebook, as well as on YouTube, and also at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. It's a hump day edition of the Martin Houston Show, and we are live and local and ready to get things going. We have X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston with us today, riding with us throughout the entirety of the program once again. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. We'll also catch up with Scotty. Go ahead.
I would like to say I apologize to Alabama defense in that poor grade I gave them after realizing that they were top 5 in the country.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. Yeah, it's all about perception sometimes versus reality. Joe showed me that early on when we were when he started producing my show, that sometimes what we feel and what reality is doesn't always necessarily match up. But before we get into, we also have Scotty Holly joining us later on in the program, as he will bring us our Johnson & Marshall Dentistry Christian Moment of the Week as we continue to focus on champions of character in our school system, highlighting athletes throughout the Tuscaloosa area. I want to remind you that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad. And it takes time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. All right, got a little basketball hoop as the Alabama Crimson Tide, in a tight one, a little tighter than I'm sure it was expected. I did not get to catch the game as I'm in that big poppy duty of coaching and coaching basketball, para basketball. So with the grandson, so I did not get to catch the game. But looking at some of the stats, they had to hold off South Alabama. X, did you get to see the game?
Yeah, I got to see a little bit of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great shooting night for Alabama. Guys struggled really from the field, which is the first time we've seen this season. But they were able to get the win. We only had 3 guys in triple digits. Keon Ellis and Jaden Shackelford led the way with 18 points apiece, and Miles had 10. J.D. Davison had his first struggles, I would say, as a freshman, 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. So, yeah. And, I mean, he only put up 3 shots, so it just kind of lets you know how the flow of the game was. But, a good team win still. even when you're a little bit off, still being able to come out on top just shows where this Alabama team is right now.
Yeah, and you of course you said we had 3 people in double digits. You said triple, but we just want to make sure that people understood. Yeah, understand what you were saying. So, but you know, and you make up a good point. Is you know the when you're a good team and you struggle, you still figure out a way to win, and that's what Alabama was able to do. But a guy who seems to be kind of grabbing the reins and maybe even becoming that Herb Jones for this team seems to be Keon Ellis. He seems to be consistent in his effort, you know, in the entirety of the game and scoring, I think, maybe even more than they were anticipating this year. So that if he continues to roll in that, you know, not role, but perform in that role, you know, you'll see not only did he have 18 points, he had 6 boards and 3 steals. Kind of seemed to be the hard hat guy, just from a statistical standpoint and effort standpoint. And I think that's so key when you have a team like this, you know, you really do have to figure out more than just shooting, more than just spreading it out, because sometimes that shot doesn't travel, or you're off a little bit, but defensive effort and hustle and all that doesn't go away, and you're able to continue having winning performances when you can get that other effort, hustle play.
Yeah, and I think Keon Ellis is a guy that I know everybody was talking about Jake Davis and the young Quinterly and Shackelford, but with his performance, if he keeps this up, this is a guy that could work himself into being a first-round pick, if not a late lottery pick, from what has been talked about.
Yeah, interesting to think about. So we'll continue to look at that basketball. But kudos to Alabama; they keep the record perfect, even though it was not a pretty blowout. Only scoring only. Yeah, that's so funny. I can remember a time when we were talking about the offensive explosion that Alabama had if they had 73 points, but only getting into the 70s last night against South Alabama. And, you know, and Coach Oates made a good point. He said, give some credit to South Alabama. You know, this is a in-state school with a chance to do some things. And, you know, but he said, give them some credit. They came out and played hard and, you know, and kind of got Alabama off track, and they couldn't get back on track. So kudos to them as well. All right, let's transition to the Alabama and New Mexico State game. It was a good game in a lot of ways, but man, the injuries, especially in the backfield, were devastating to the Alabama Crimson Tide, and we're now down to B-Rob, Trey Sanders, Christian Leary, Lemoy Kennedy, and now Saban saying maybe even finding someone else to be that auxiliary emergency type guy. Does Alabama in this season, do they go to the Derrick Henry version of the running game with B-Rob? Or do we see Trey Sanders step up like Trent did a little bit when he got his opportunity, when he was not the guy?
Yeah, I think that's a great question when you look at I posed the same question yesterday. When you only got 2 guys that are scholarship running back, you're talking about DeMoy Kennedy was playing linebacker a few weeks ago. Christian Leary was playing wide receiver. What are your options when you're at the home stretch of the season. Losing Jason Cordell and Kamar, who didn't even get to see, has been huge this season. If you look at, I don't know if it's going to be Derrick Henry 2.0, but I could definitely see us leaning in that direction. We've seen it from B-Rob already this season, 30-plus carries against Ole Miss. But I think this is Trey's opportunity to show what he can do if they trust him and trust his body to hold up and take that type of punishment.
Well, I guess that brings up two things. One is it they don't trust him or he doesn't trust himself? Speaking of Trey Sanders, is it him or them? I guess is a question. Is he going through? We mentioned it on yesterday. Is he going through that Derrick Rose mentality of he'll go a little bit, but then he'll shut down? Because early on, when the few plays you see him, he seems to do fine to me. DC thought he ran a little tentative. I didn't think he ran tentative when he was in there necessarily. But I just wonder, or is it that body just jumps on, just kind of quits really quick. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And then the other one is, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he ran tentative at all. At some point, he's got to prove himself. He's a redshirt sophomore. He's fallen behind the two sophomores behind him. We don't know what would have happened if Kamara had been healthy this whole season. So, I mean, you hate it for Jace, you hate it for Riddell, but this is Trey's opportunity. So, this is one of those grab the bull by the horns moments in his career that could either determine a potential NFL future or, relegate it to being in the background for the rest of his career at Alabama or wherever he ends up.
Okay. Well, we'll continue the B-Rob conversation. We got Curtis Lewis who's holding, so we'll get to him on the other side of the break, give him plenty of time there. Curtis Moore the second pointing out that our boy Pete Golding is up for the Broyles Award, Assistant Coach Award. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about this defense. Is this defense rounding into a championship level defense? Can the offense continue to improve? And if that's the case, can Alabama make a stretch run to repeat as champions? That's the conversation that's up for grabs. We'd like to get you in on it. Of course, we'll hit the college football playoffs as well. And then we'll end things out with some encouraging words from Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministry, presented by Johnson & Marshall Dentistry. More conversation to be had right here on the Martin Houston Show.
100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, the roadway's fairly quiet this Wednesday morning. Please drive carefully, have a safe day, and if you see conditions, give us a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan has the selection and great savings just in time for Thanksgiving. Gobble up the deals today. I'm Captain Ray.
Has the pandemic affected your business? Even with more and more customers going online in the past 5 years, online business has grown greatly due to the pandemic. Now more than ever, it's important to have a strong online presence so that customers can find your business and products easily. That's where Townsquare comes in to help. Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free competitive analysis to see how your business stands up to the competition. And if you're one of the first to sign up, you'll get $500 in free advertising on this radio station. That's mylocalcustomers.com. Townsquare not only can help you find more local customers online, they'll also help you grow your business to a new level. With premium website services that get you new leads every day and no contracts to sign, there's no better time to join. Not only that, Townsquare also has a dedicated marketing specialist who will be with you every step of the way, making changes that will benefit you and especially your business. It's fast, easy, and you can cancel your subscription at any time. So hurry to mylocalcustomers.com and get your $500 in free advertising today.
That's a no-whip, high-foam, 170-degree, sugar-free gingerbread latte.
Ah, yes. It's gingerbread latte season at Duchesne's Coffee Shop. He'll need a seasonal barista before his cookie starts to crumble.
Anything else?
Oh, there's a list.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You know when you order a new video game, or a golf club, or a blender, and then it arrives at your door, you get a little thrill. Imagine how much more thrilling it is when you order a new car. With Nissan at home, you can shop for the perfect ride and order it without ever having to go anywhere. Sure beats a golf club or a blender. Buy a new car entirely online with Nissan at home. Delivered direct from dealer to driveway. Thrill starts here. Services may vary at participating dealers, subject to applicable law. See dealer for details.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather stays unseasonably mild today, partly to mostly sunny with a high at 75. For tonight, increasingly cloudy, the low at 55. Tomorrow, a mostly cloudy day. We'll have the chance of a few scattered rain showers, the high at 65. I'm James Spann of the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 48 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at sophmartdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
You're high in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back in to the Martin Houston Show. We have X's and O's, Xavier Houston on with us this morning, and we have Curtis Lewis holding. So good morning, Curtis. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Hey, and I started thinking about Pete Golden being up for the Broyles Bowl, which really doesn't speak a whole lot about his what he's done from a standpoint of being outstanding. I think it's more of his longevity and where the team is at, being in the challenge for the college football playoff. But it's great if he gets up there. He won't, of course, but it's great if he gets up there. But I do see that I was reading an article the other day. I think it was on the SEC Country. I'm not sure where I saw it at, but they was listing all these coaches in the SEC and around the country who are up for various movements, whether it's head coaching jobs or both of head coaching jobs or moving on to the pros. And out of the 14 coaches that they listed, including Bill O'Brien, they listed him for the Virginia Tech job and other things in the pros. But the one coach that they did not have in that group, 14 coaches, including offensive line coaches, who do you think they did not list?
Pete Golding.
Was a shocker. It's a shock.
I don't think not really. I don't think.
I'm being sarcastic. He made up a crap. But regardless of him, though, I think that if I have a situation that we are running back, Trey Sanders. Trey is doing the exact same thing he done the first time he touched the ball for Alabama. It's like he's running on ice. And I think he's running on ice now because of his injuries. I don't think he trusts his injuries yet, his healing yet. But once he gets to that point, I think he'll be fine. But I do think Christian Leary, that kid can be the difference maker that we need back there at this point if they will use him. Because he reminds me of the same, what's that kid name for Texas A&M that comes out the back there? He's really not a running back at all. He's really a wide receiver back there. But
Robinson?
Yes. And now it's the other one, A-Chain.
A-Chain.
Yeah.
Yeah, A-Chain. But yeah, both of those guys are quicker than quick and difference makers coming out the backfield because they great in the pass game and they can carry the ball too. But when Leary touched the ball, and he was against Mexico State now, so we're not going to get too crazy about that. But that burst that he has, he's got that burst
Well,
and also you always hear people saying that somebody reminds them of this guy or that guy. We hear that all the time about somebody reminding them of Waddle, and I've yet to see anybody actually look like Waddle. And that includes the little Earl kid. He didn't have that burst, but Leary has that burst. Now he can be quite a weapon for us, especially since our offensive line isn't very good anyway. And that ball's got to come out quick. That kid can get he can get out there in space pretty quick. And I think that's that's a benefit to him. But what do you think about that, fella?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think if we had Kiffin at OC, if we had Sarkisian at OC, if we had Loxley at OC, then we would already probably potentially have seen Christian Leary. Because what we lost this year, we hadn't talked about this, Curtis, is we lost Keelan Robinson. Keelan Robinson, Saban hardly ever, and I mentioned this yesterday, Saban hardly ever plays a third back unless he's the type of back you were just talking about, right? That guy that's a wide receiver, wiggle guy, not going to necessarily. Christian Drake, Kenyon Drake was able to get into the game because he was totally different than the other backs. We've had that. We lost it. Keelan Robinson was probably kicking himself being at Texas with that 5-game losing streak and would be the man right now. But I don't know if O'Brien knows how to use that type of player. I mean, he should, but why we've not had a really, really change up type of back that gives us speed sweep out in space, on this team. And so would he even know how to use him? Because if you saw it in that one time, and here's what I tell people. Like I can't ever tell you if a running back can play physical or not. I can't ever tell you if a running back will hit a hole. I can't ever tell you that until I see him do it. But I can see a running back catch a ball in space and take off and go, we just need to get that guy the ball in space. And that's what you were saying you saw in Christian Leary.
Exactly. That's exactly what I saw in Leary. And it really brings us back to the point again that how many players do we have sitting over there on the bench who cannot get on the field for whatever the reason being? And I do not believe it's because they're not getting it done in practice. That's just find that incredibly hard to believe. I think that's a cop-out because if that was the case, half our team can't get on the field. I mean, these kids can't all be screwing up in practice.
Well, hey, Curtis, I'm trying. Hey, I'm just an everyday radio guy. I'm trying to figure out why the highest paid, greatest coach in the history of college football it doesn't seem to be playing these guys. And I watched the game last night, and I'll let you respond, X. I watched the game the other night, the 49ers versus the Rams. And I saw the 49ers annihilate the Rams. It's like 31-7. And guess what they were doing? The reporters were showing the sideline of all of the backup players of the Rams that weren't getting in the game while they were still trying to make it 31-14 with 7 minutes to go. And I said, hey, that's what we've been watching at Alabama when we're not playing our backup guys. So I don't know if it's like you said, it's a philosophy, and I think you got 3 pro coaches, and that philosophy may be even stronger this year than before.
Exactly. That's where I was going. You look at where these guys come from, their backgrounds. 2 of them are Belichick guys with Coach Saban and O'Brien. So, I mean, this is the pro mentality. You don't play your backups until you absolutely have to play your backups. So I think that's what we're seeing. And then, the getting on the field thing is, once again, that pro mentality is you rely on a core group of guys. You don't rely on 5, 6, 7 guys to do what you trust 2 to 3 or 4 to do. And that's what we've seen. It was B-Rob and Jay before he got hurt. Then been B-Rob and Roydell. You look at the wide receiver position. It's been JoJo Slade, John Jameson, and Holden has gotten in late. You know, it's not a lot of depth, but that's a pro mentality. You get your best 2 to 4 guys, maybe 5, and that's who you roll with.
And that's killing us. I really think that's hurting us. And I think we're going to pay the price this year big time in the transfer portal. I think we're going to get hit hard in our wide receiver group. I think we're going to get hard in our outside linebacker group. Because we've got so many guys over there just straight out dollars. They're going to want to go somewhere to play. And you're not going to put them on the field and out time. They're going to go somewhere else and play. And if we have the same situation like we have almost every year, one position group get hit hard by injury, then we're going to pay the price for it.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to have that guy back there that we can put in third or fourth down the line right now that we have in that running back position.
Yeah. Yeah, and you speak of that outside linebacker group. The guy that I look and wonder about is Chris Braswell. He showed like just flashes. I know it was a spring game, but he showed flash, and then he shows it when he gets in the game. But he happens to be behind, Will Anderson, and then the other side though, you now have a true freshman and a redshirt freshman and a true freshman that's splitting time there, and Anderson has another year. So to your point, is Braswell gonna wait? Because it's not like you're gonna take Will Anderson off the field unless he wants to come off.
Exactly.
So
you're not gonna get Will Anderson off the field. And if Allen comes back, which I don't see why he would want to come back, he's got to move forward. Because there's a good chance you come back, you might not start. That's probably better than you now. Like man is out there now, so you may not even start if you come back.
Wow, I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah,
that's right. I think it'll be the spring that you see, because I think Jameson Williams is gone. I think Mechie leaves. So that opens up those 2 spots. And that's when the competition starts. Will it be in a Jai Hall? Will it be a Ja'Cory Brooks, Trayshawn Holden, Javon Baker? I think after spring, in some of these heavy loaded positions, especially with the recruiting classes, the class that we have coming in that are going after those certain positions kind of heavy, that's when you'll see transfers, cornerback position. Because with the way they're going after corners in this class, you can't tell me they have faith in the guys behind Job and Dave, Omar Davis. And when you got Kool-Aid coming in, we've already seen it with Marcus Banks transferring, and you're going after 4 of the top corners in the country. Already got 1 committee.
And speaking of that, the Damani Jackson decommitted from USC after his visit to Alabama. And I don't know if you saw Javion Cohen said he posted up a tweet that said, "Oh, that's the same reaction I had right before I decommitted and committed to Alabama." So we'll see if that happens. But you got anything else for us, Curtis?
Well, and you also got that Earl kid down there in Florida, who is that Earl Jr. kid getting ready to come up here. So yeah, we're gonna see it in the quarterback department too.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's all I had.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right.
I'll say this.
Go ahead.
I went to one game this year, and it was American Heritage. And I'm telling you, Earl Little and Marvin Jones, they're more than nasty.
Yeah. Well, and Alabama is going to get the best players, continue to get the best players. We'll have to make sure it's sort of like in the insurance business, it's not just the policies you sell and the new policies you get. If you're going to sustain it, you have to make sure you keep the ones you got. And Alabama's been able to do that. Will the transfer portal impact that? We see. We will see. Coming back on the other side, we'll talk a little bit about the college football playoffs and your thoughts there. Any guys overrated, underrated? Does Cincinnati stand a chance of getting in. We'll talk to you about that if you want to get in on the conversation. 205-342-9904.
100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, the roadway's fairly quiet this Wednesday morning. Please drive carefully, have a safe day, and if you see conditions, give us a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan has the selection and great savings just in time for Thanksgiving. Gobble up the deals today. I'm Captain Ray.
An exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you wash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Okay, so usually I'm a last minute shopper, but the deals at Kohl's, way too good to pass up. I got 40% off holiday decor, 40% off the cutest St. Nicholas square finds for the table, and found the toys topping my kids' lists. I also got 15% off, and as a Kohl's Rewards member, an extra $10 off my home purchase, because I spent $50. So now I get the whole early shopping thing, and I'm a big fan. Select styles. Offers end November 20th. Toys. Coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details. You know when you order a new video game, or a golf club, or a blender, and then it arrives at your door, you get a little thrill. Imagine how much more thrilling it is when you order a new car. With Nissan at home, you can shop for the perfect ride and order it without ever having to go anywhere. Sure beats a golf club or a blender. Buy a new car entirely online with Nissan at home. Delivered direct from dealer to driveway. Thrill starts here. Services may vary at participating dealers, subject to applicable law. See dealer for details.
It takes two vaccines to help protect you this season, the flu and COVID-19. And now you can get both shots at the same visit. Learn more at cdc.gov/vaccines.
Tuscaloosa Tire and Service, they've got the big brands you know and trust. Goodyear, Firestone, Bridgestone, Cooper, and they can finance for you as well. When you need routine maintenance and alignment, a tune-up, whatever it is, belts, hoses, just basic stuff, or when you don't know what's wrong with your car, truck, or SUV, make it Tuscaloosa Tire and Service. They're dependable, they're trustworthy. That's why they've lasted for over 36 years. Skyland Boulevard, McFarland Boulevard East in Northport on Lurleen Wallace Boulevard. Check out the website, TuscaloosaTireandService.com.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful morning. Things going this morning. and invite you to join us on the conversation at 205-342-9904, or give us your thoughts on chat. And we have a couple thoughts we can address, and then ask you your thoughts on the college football playoffs. Curtis Lewis saying, real talk though, I know we clown Pete Golding and all, but I really, really all capitalized believe that our run defense is legit, all caps. I think we have slowly not been paying attention, but our defense is doing well. And you start going back, other than that debacle of the first half of the Texas A&M game where we lost Malachi in the beginning, and you start with Southern Miss to Ole Miss to the second half of Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Tennessee, LSU, New Mexico State. Alabama's played some really good defense. It's just we held Ole Miss down. We held Tennessee, which is a high-powered offense, run game down, way under their rushing average, way under New Mexico State, way under theirs. Tennessee's under theirs. LSU's under theirs. Everybody, that has had a legit run game, we've held them in check. And this week will be another one of those tests as Arkansas averages 230 plus yards, like number 6 in the nation.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at the comment about Jackie Sherrill, but I think this run defense is better than most people realize. Like I said before, I think sometimes we look at things and it doesn't look as pretty as it used to. I had a conversation with a guy whose freshman year at Bama was 2016, and he talked about that. He was like, that defensive line. And it's like, for him, that's how he came into Alabama football. And so that was mentally the standard for him. And he was like, these defensive line fence have just been terrible and trash and all this stuff. I'm like, bro, you're talking about one of the greatest defenses ever, especially that defensive front with multiple first rounders and second round. I mean, you look at that front, Ryan Anderson, Tim Williams, second and third round picks, 2 first round picks in Durant Payne and Jonathan Allen, and then Dalvin Tomlinson was a second round pick. And then you look at the linebackers, that whole defense, the latest any of them were drafted was the 4th rank. So that just shows you the talent there, and backups get drafted as well. So I know, and I'm guilty of looking at it that blind, oh man, this isn't what we're used to, when most people would love to have this defense that we have.
Yeah, and so we have to watch it. And the only question I'm gonna have is, Georgia goes against big boys in practice on that offensive line, and will they be able to move our smaller defensive linemen? And if so, how are we going to compensate for that? Will we use run blitzes? Most people think about blitzing when it comes to pressuring the quarterback, but LSU actually wasn't necessarily blitzing to get pressure on Bryce Young. They were run blitzing to make sure that they got all the good fits and didn't leave any gaps. Just so happened we were passing a lot. I think we ran the ball twice in the first quarter against LSU. And then, like, in the first quarter against even New Mexico State, of course, some of that was because we were scoring quickly, but I think we had 3 touches. So in the last 2 first quarters, we ran the ball like 5 times. And we'll have to get out of that if we're going to, beat these teams down the stretch. But speaking of the college football playoffs, not much change in the way things are laid out once again. Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State make up the top 4. Still feel pretty good about that. Those 4 being the best 4 teams in the country.
Well, I mean, until they're beaten, yeah. Alabama, of course, Georgia undefeated. Alabama has what I would call a good loss to Texas A&M. Ohio State loss is to Oregon, so that would be a great loss. Oregon's kind of that odd man with getting blown out by Stanford, who is not a good football team. But
I mean, if I'm arguing, Alabama's not really not a good loss either. Now that you look at A&M, which of course I tell people all the time, Jimbo Fisher is a 8-4, 9-3 coach. Last year was an anomaly, and the year he won the national championship, anomaly. So I'm just telling you, everybody talks about how great a coach he is, but if you take that national, you can't, and I get that, but you take that national championship away from him, what has he built? What has he done? He ruined Florida State. And he has every resource he needs at Texas A&M to challenge Alabama. And he's sitting at 3 losses this year. But he beat Alabama, so he got job security. LSU, y'all better leave him alone. You better go after somebody else if you want to win. Anyway, that was a sidebar. That's my personal sidebar. Anyway, that dude's guaranteed make like $8 million a year, and I'm sitting here dogging him doing a radio show in Tuscaloosa. There you go. Isn't that the way it works out? But anyway, the next 3 become really interesting as you look at it from Cincinnati, Michigan State. Barring all 3 of those teams that they're surrounded by ending up with 2 losses, does Cincinnati make it? If either one of those 3 teams ends up with 1 loss, are they the 4th team?
Man, that's tough. I feel like they're in position because Michigan and Michigan State have yet to play Ohio State. So while they both have 1 loss, they will, in my opinion, they'll probably jump Cincinnati because they will be beating the number 4 team in the country.
Correct. That's
at that point.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think they put Michigan in front of Michigan State. They went ahead. I think they went ahead. Everywhere else that we talked about, they gave credence to head-to-head. The only place, now it may have changed because I hadn't verified it, but when that first ranking came out and everything, we talked over and over where, oh wow, they're giving a lot of street cred to beating a team head-to-head, and within 1 week, when Michigan State lost, what did they do? They put Michigan in front of Michigan State versus the other way. And I think that's because if Ohio State beats Michigan, they're in. It would have to be Ohio State and Michigan State. And I think they would prefer to have Michigan in than Michigan State because it's more money. Let's be real. But I think they've surrounded Cincinnati by those 3, and it would take absolute chaos. Ohio State beat Michigan State turn around beating Ohio State, and I don't know what they would do then. But I think that one of those 3 teams will end up in the playoffs in front of Cincinnati. So, and then after that, I don't know that it's really a whole lot of intrigue in this year's playoffs. Is it possible for? Go ahead.
Oklahoma finally got what we've been waiting for.
Yeah, they proved the committee right on that one. I see no way Notre Dame jumps up any higher than 5. There is 0 way that Notre Dame gets in front of an undefeated Cincinnati. And if that's the case, then you can write home that there'll never be a group of 5 get in. Interesting question I have for you. Could Oklahoma State or you know, and it's so funny. Wake Forest is sitting at 9-1, and they're sitting number 10. But the only team I see out there potentially, Oklahoma State, as Big 12, could they potentially have some meteoric rise as they went out and get into a championship situation? Could they potentially even jump Cincinnati on that last week?
I mean, it would take absolute chaos. Like you said, it takes so much with just those three Big Ten schools to get all three of them eliminated. You know, Ohio State losing to Michigan, Ohio State losing to Michigan State, Ohio State beating Michigan.
I'm telling you,
it gets crazy.
They've set it up where
the only way I can see it happening is if Ohio State beats Michigan and loses to Michigan State, and then Michigan State loses in the
Michigan State already beat Michigan. That's what I'm saying. And they set it up in such a way.
Michigan beats Ohio State. Ohio State beats Michigan. Michigan State goes to the Big Ten championship game and then loses.
Yep.
That's the type of situation that would have to happen for it to cancel out those three teams.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a Big Ten team or Cincinnati in that last spot. Now, of course, you could see Alabama loses to, if Alabama beats Georgia, neither one of those teams are going anywhere. But if Alabama loses, then you could push up and potentially still get a Cincinnati in and a Big Ten school in. That's the only other way, or Oregon has to lose. It takes a lot for any team past number 7, in my opinion, to have a real opportunity.
If Alabama plays Georgia close, and we'll end on this and get Scotty in, Georgia close, last second loss, does Alabama fall all the way out with that second loss?
Man. As a homer, I want to say no, we'll be there. But as a fan of the game, I cannot put a 2-loss team in over an undefeated team. Over a team that played the schedule.
But that's not the rule says nothing about schedule. It says the best 4 teams. Would you take Cincinnati? Would you put your house, your car, and on the line and take Cincinnati in a neutral site game against Alabama?
No. And not even the coach.
And that's the conversation the committee will be having. So I don't think it would happen. I think college football would flip on its head, and we'd have 8 playoffs next year. We'd have 8 teams next year if
Alabama Georgia rematch.
Yeah,
you would get an immediate Alabama Georgia rematch.
I know.
They don't want that.
Georgia wouldn't want that either.
But of course, if Alabama beats Georgia, where are you dropping Georgia to? Are you just going to drop them to number 2? Are you going to drop them to 3, 4? They lost their last.
Let's just hope both of those teams went out and meet up in the SEC championship game, and we'll have some great conversation in a couple of weeks. Hey, let's get the break. Let's get the break here. Coming back on the other side, we'll have Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, with the Christian Moment of the Week, highlighting some champions of character presented by Johnson & Marshall Dentistry.
100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Steady traffic on McFarland eastbound coming into Northport to Lurleen. Skyland heavy at McFarland. If you see other conditions this morning folks need to hear about, just give us a call. 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan has the selection and great savings just in time for Thanksgiving. Gobble up the deals today. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Wednesday morning. Cottondale Senator Gerald Allen is competition for the Republican nomination for his long-held District 21 Senate seat. The challenger is Tuscaloosa businessman Trip Powell. Allen is a three-term state lawmaker. There is one candidate for the Democratic nomination. She is Lakeview resident Lisa Ward. District 21 includes much of Tuscaloosa County and all of Pickens County. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then 6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing LLC.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here. Baumhauer's Victory Grill is your big game headquarters all fall long. And with our new fall features, every day is game day at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Try our pregame starters, including our homemade onion strings, always fresh hot lips, and our all-new Buffalo Dippin' Chicken appetizer. Our main events include incredible chicken, fish, and shrimp selections, always featuring local Alabama Gulf seafood. And don't forget our Sunday Blitz, 11 to 6. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Open enrollment for healthcare.gov is here. If you're uninsured or have a job that doesn't offer insurance, check out healthcare.gov. Due to a new law, prices are lower and more people qualify. Now, 4 out of 5 customers pay just $10 a month or less with financial help. It's easier than ever to find the right plan for you, and millions of Americans just like you have already enrolled. New law, lower prices. More people qualify. Sign up at healthcare.gov by December 15th.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Mark, you're hot in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It's now time for us to get things going. We got Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, presented by Johnson Marshall Dentistry. We have the Christian Moment of the Week where he highlights some champions of faith. Good morning, Scotty. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, Martin. I'm doing great. Am I seeing double this morning? I see 2 Martins, but I see a younger Martin.
Yeah, you see, and the best looking one is the one with the gray.
Yeah. The older one, but the younger one looks like he's a little cooler than me, though. I'll be honest.
Hey, listen, he just, as the young folks, he just catching the drip from his old man.
I got you. Well, let's get started. Let's celebrate our champions of character for the week, and we're going to celebrate these young men, young ladies. We are so proud of them. Again, it's a privilege and an honor to be recognized by your coaches. To have your name and your face placed in full color in the newspaper on Saturday, in the sports page. We get a lot of traffic. Again, these they are well deserving of that because of their character. And we're talking about the character, quality of friendship. And so this is Deborah Giles from West Lawn Middle School, girls basketball. Again, another West Lawn Middle School basketball teammate of hers is Anaya Mims. Then we have Jakia Horton, Northridge Middle School girls basketball. And let's see, we got Hartley Richardson. He's Northridge High School football. And then we have Marquise Nash from Bryant High School basketball. Colin Warren, Eastwood Middle School basketball. Shanice Paul, Bryan High School girls flag football. She's running some touchdowns. Miles Madden, Eastwood Middle School basketball. Tavares Jones, Northridge Middle School boys basketball. And then finally, Cassie Clement. She's Northridge High School tennis. All right, so today we're going to speak very briefly on friendship. And so we talked about the type of friend that we all need. And when I say the type of friend we all need, that means also the type of friend that we need to be. All right, so we talked about the Good Samaritan and the lesson we got from that story, which was, if I don't help that person, then what's going to happen to me? Well, we get that same message from the story of Ruth. And so I'm going to give it to you in the 1 minute version. Naomi had a husband, and long story short, they had a famine. And so she had 2 boys. Her 2 boys got married. All right, so you got Naomi, her husband, the 2 boys, and then you got their husband. Their wives, I should say. And so then the 2 boys died. So Naomi's 2 sons died. Her husband died. So she's left with her 2 daughters-in-law. Okay, and it's Orpah and it's Ruth. And so she urges them, hey, y'all go home, go find husbands elsewhere. Things have gone terribly wrong for me. So you go find husbands. And so Orpah's like, no. I mean, they're both like, no, we need to stay with you. And then, Naomi says, no, you go find husbands somewhere else. And Orpah's like, okay, cool. Since you urging me, I'm with you on that. And so she leaves, but Ruth stays. And here's what Ruth says. And again, that's the 30-second version right there. Here's what Ruth says. She says this: don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. And where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people. And your God will be my God. Where you die, I'll die. And there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me. When Naomi realized that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped urging her. Listen, Naomi says this. Orpah said, hey, if I stay and help this old lady, then what's going to happen to me? I may never get married again. I may never have kids. I got to go. But Ruth said, if I don't stay and help her, then what's going to happen to her? And God honored that by allowing Ruth to be in the lineage of Christ. She ends up being the great-great-grandmama of King David. So anyway, I want to encourage you. That's the type of friend you need. The type of friend that says, if I don't help you, then what's going to happen to you? And guess what? We need to be that same type of friend. And we're willing to do whatever we need to do to help those that we call our friends.
Yeah, and I'll throw one other scripture on top of that, though. Think more highly of others than yourself. That's the type of friend you want. That one that's looking out not just for their own best interest, but your best interest as well. Scotty, tell our listeners real quick where they can find you, sir.
Absolutely. You can go to www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com. You can send me a message there. It comes straight to my email.
All right. That's Scotty Hollins in the bottom right, Xavier Houston in the top, and I'm Martin Houston. This is the Martin Houston Show, and that Christian moment of the week and encouragement. Be a friend. Show yourself to be friendly, and you will find many friends. That is the challenge for this week. We'll be back tomorrow, same bat channel, same bat time. Remember this: trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.